Taking a step means making a choice to move forward in our faith. At Nativity, we have 5 steps that we ask everyone to take at some point. Throughout this year, we will be exploring each step one at a time.
Welcome back. It's time for your next step. Hopefully by now you've invested and invited someone in your life to church. Now that you've taken that first step, it's time to talk about...
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice. The same way you practice basketball or math or the piano, you need to practice your faith. Practice brings us the best type of prayer, habit. When prayer becomes a habit, it becomes powerful. Though it may seem like prayer doesn't do anything, doesn't make a difference, or other people's prayers get answered while yours don't, if you stay consistent and specific with prayer, you will see a change. I think sometimes we misunderstand the point of prayer. Believe it or not, prayer isn't about getting what we want or helping us escape a situation. It's about aligning our desires with what God desires for us. You aren't changing God's mind by praying to Him or influencing His decisions for your life. But it does bring some important needs to our lives, like hope, peace, patience, and perseverance. You see that in all things, God is working for your good because you become more aware of how God is always aware, always loving, and always leading. You can worry less because everything is in God's control, not your own. You become willing to wait and live with discipline because you learn that God is faithful and will triumph for good. You learn how to stick with a habit and start seeing the big picture of how your habit of prayer makes a difference in your life. How do we practice faith? You've probably heard have faith or trust through faith, but how do you practice something that isn't physical? You can't run drills or take written tests on it, but you can make commitments to implementing faith into your daily routine.
Hi everybody, my name is Grace Monticelli, and I'm here to share with you today a little bit how I practice my faith throughout the week. A few months back when COVID first hit and we went into lockdown, I struggled finding ways to be faithful when I couldn't have the support I was used to. It was routine for me to go to Young Life on Wednesdays and Nativity on Sundays, so when I was no longer able to have that structure, I felt myself losing touch with Jesus. This is how I found a plan for individual worship that works for me. The first thing I like to do every morning is just take 10 minutes to be quiet and still with the Lord. This allows God to renew my mind and guide my steps for the day. I try to end my day with the same reflection and gratitude. The next thing I like to do is pick a guiding verse, as I call it, that feels relevant to me each week. For this week, my verse is 2 Corinthians 4:16 to 4:17, and it says, "Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." This verse brings me comfort in all I'm looking forward to this week, and it challenges me to turn to God when I start feeling stressed or overwhelmed instead of trying to rely on other things. Lastly, I love listening to worship music when I'm in the car. It's another opportunity for me to have uninterrupted time with God, and music can be such a powerful form of worship. Quarantine taught me that practicing faith is so much more than showing up at church once a week. There are so many different ways to stay connected with God, you just need to find one that fits. I challenge you this week to take a few minutes to try and find a way to practice your faith on your own, and you might be surprised by how close you'll feel to the Lord.
There are hundreds of different ways people practice their faith, and every one of them is a good way to do it. Set prayer reminders on your phone, read devotionals, listen to uplifting music, get involved at church, journal, hang out with people with similar values. You could even tie prayer in with existing habits. Talk to God while you're brushing your teeth, getting dressed, or anything else you do every day. As this becomes a habit, it'll make an instant reminder for you. So when you go to grab your toothbrush, you'll automatically think, pray. To get started, try writing yourself a sticky note and stick it to your mirror. Then when it kicks in as a habit, take the sticky note down, and it'll all come naturally. Just as if you were learning how to shoot a free throw. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, and the better you get. When it comes down to it, practicing faith is living like Jesus habitually. He told us to pray without ceasing. This doesn't mean pray when we feel like it, or when we're sad, or when we need help. It means pray in those times, but also when there's nothing going on in our lives, when we're happy, and when we don't feel like praying. We love Him by practicing our faith consistently. As important as the personal faith side is, practicing faith is also living in kindness, putting others before yourself, and spreading love however you can. Jesus said, "Just as I have loved you, you are to love one another." He set the example. Now we just follow it. This does not mean being perfect or above everyone else. It's simply taking a step and seeking to become a better person and acknowledging that God can help you rise higher than you ever could on your own. Pray simply and consistently. Some may even say, "Keep it simple, stupid." Not that you're stupid, but you get the point. Prayer doesn't have to be elaborate or over the top to get God's attention. You don't need to be down on your knees in adoration every night. Just speak to God like you would to a friend. He's already listening and waiting for your call. The creation painting by Michelangelo depicts an image of God reaching towards Adam. All Adam had to do was reach back and God would take care of the rest. That's what practicing faith does for us. That is our reaching back and how we connect with God. Until our next step, and even after that, I'm challenging you to find your way of practicing faith. Whether it's taking a minute before getting out of bed in the morning to check in with God, listening to worship music, or reading a daily devotional. Find what works for you to practice your faith.
God of Abraham, God of covenant and of faithful promises. Time and time again, you have proven you'll do just what you said. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me. God, from age to age, though the earth may pass away, your word remains the same. Your history can prove there's nothing you can do. You're faithful and true. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me.
I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation.